So what's exciting about these Communities Create projects is that we're wanting to really bring people together in this time where we're all apart.
Be part of a time capsule of life during the pandemic through creative outputs. Hi everyone, I'm Ramona Pringle. I'm the director of the Creative Innovation Studio at FCAD at Ryerson University, and welcome to Communities Create, our final session of Communities Create, at least for now. It seems to be that maybe there's a little bit of good news tied into that as well. It's hard to believe that it has been 4 months since we started, that there have been 18 of these incredible creative interactive sessions with over 18 different artists who have worked with us, so many participants who have collaborated either in the live Zoom sessions or who have been watching the live streams, watching the recordings afterwards. So it's really been an incredible experience. And I think, you know, everyone has had some inclination of silver linings throughout the pandemic, and this certainly has been one of those. Just what a wonderful opportunity to connect with other creators and to connect with just other people when we haven't been able to necessarily be connecting face to face. I know that there's people who may be joining us, and even though it's our last session, this may be your first time, you may be new to Communities Create. So a little bit of background on what this initiative has been. The goal of Communities Create has been to support independent members of the creative community, and in parallel, to use creativity to be able to help people express themselves, share how they've been feeling throughout this time of pandemic and uncertainty and social change, when, as we've seen, sometimes words don't seem to be enough. How it worked is we have been providing micro grants to independent artists who lead these interactive sessions through partnerships with creative organizations across the country. And that's been really exciting as well, is to be able to partner up with everyone from radio stations to theater companies to documentary organizations to game studios from coast to coast. This week is Sculpting Week. The workshop is using recycled cardboard with Roland Chun Shing Au, and it's presented in collaboration with Ross Creek Center for the Arts. Now, before we get started, I'm just going to share a few quick ground rules to ensure that everyone has the best experience possible. The number one thing that I would say, and again, I'm an expert in this because it's been 18 weeks, don't be shy. Try the exercises yourself. This is like Peloton meets Art Attack, in that we are going through exercises with you in real time. This is definitely a safe space, and it'll make it so much more so to just try things as we do it. And you'll take away so much more if you participate in real time. I want to take a moment right now to say hi to everyone who's watching in the live stream, either on the Communities Create website or on CBC Arts. If you are watching the live stream, you can still participate. We monitor social media feeds as we do this. So if you're creating things and you want to show us what you're doing, or if you have questions for the session leaders and you want to ask those, you can post those on social media. For those of you who are in the live Zoom session today, a few things. You'll want to pin the Communities Create video so that you make sure you're always seeing the graphics and you're always seeing everything that the artist wants you to be seeing as they lead the session. Use the chat feature to comment and ask questions. Your microphone will be muted and moderators will unmute you if you have a question to ask. Just so you know, any audio is recorded and archived. Your video feature is controlled by you, and it's only visible by other participants. It's not being recorded. So if you're feeling shy, turn it off. But I think there's something really nice about being able to see other people's faces as we're doing this. That is the really live participatory studio feeling of what we're doing. I'd like to take a moment to introduce Rachel Jewett. She's from our mental health task force. So as we've done this, we've had a team of researchers and psychologists who have been working on the mental health side of things, the well-being side of things. Rachel, you know, one of the reasons we're doing this is to give people a creative outlet for their emotions. Maybe you could just take a few moments and talk about your role here today.
Absolutely, thank you. So like Ramona said, I'm a psychology graduate student, and I'm joined here today by my colleague Amy as well. And the reason that Amy and I are here is that, you know, sometimes when we think about how we're feeling, which is what these workshops ask us to do, it can trigger some more intense emotions. So our role is just to be a safety net and support for anyone who might be feeling uncomfortable or distressed and want to talk about that briefly after the workshop. We don't anticipate anyone will be terribly distressed by what the content brings up today, but we just want to be here in case it does. So we're going to be available during through the chat during the workshop, which we'll be monitoring, but mainly during about a 10 or 15-minute debrief at the end of the workshop. So stick around for that if you're interested. And finally, a list of resources is available at the Communities Create website if you're interested in more mental health support or some more long-term support. And with that, I hope everyone has a wonderful experience today.
Thanks, Rachel. Now I'm going to introduce Ken Schwartz from Ross Creek Center for the Arts to tell us a little bit about their center, and tell us a little bit, Ken, about why you wanted to join us with this initiative.
Hi, everybody. I am Ken Schwartz, and I work at the Ross Creek Center for the Arts. And I'm speaking to you today from Mi'kma'ki, which is the unceded and unsurrendered territory of the Mi'kmaq people, which is also known as Nova Scotia. We were so excited to participate in this project. Like so many artistic organizations across the country, we have been finding new ways to reach out and make a difference in people's lives over the last 5 months. It's hard to believe it's 5 months. So when we were approached to collaborate on this project, we were so happy to participate. I just wanted to take an opportunity now to introduce Roland, to say a few things about Roland. Roland Chun Shing Au is the artistic director of Théâtre de Poulet, which he founded in 2016 with his wife, Carmen Lee. And he graduated from the Hong Kong Academy for Performing Arts with a Bachelor of Fine Arts in acting in 2012. And he's been practicing cardboard sculpture and engineering since 2016. And he's created an amazing array of productions and artistic experiences since he has been in Nova Scotia, and I feel very fortunate to call him a colleague. When we were discussing this project, one of the things that came to mind is Roland's incredible abilities in using cardboard as a medium. I don't know about you, but since the pandemic began, my house has been filling with cardboard on weekly, because everything that gets delivered to us comes in cardboard. So I thought of all the different experiences that we might be able to offer in collaboration with an artist, this might have been a timely one.
Excellent. Well, I think without further ado, it's time to get started. Roland?
Hi, hello. Hi, everyone. I'm Roland Chun Shing Au, and I'm so happy to be here today. And so my partner Carmen, she will sit next to me to assist me. So, but she won't in the camera. But yeah, anyway, first of all, I really have to thanks for the Communities Create for giving me this opportunity to share my experience. And some of my background that can't have been told. And yeah, so I originally from Hong Kong, Carmen as well, we're originally from Hong Kong, and we settled in Nova Scotia since 2015. And then we start Theatre du Poulet. For Theatre du Poulet, we do performance, combining puppetry, devising object, and also social issue. And in 2016, I started to innovate and create cardboard engineering and also cardboard sculpture until now, and which is something that I really love it. I don't know why, but it's just so much fun. And today is so good to share these things to you guys. And for sure, today the workshop will be aimed on is letting you guys have a concept of how to build a cardboard sculpture digitally. And I will show some of my photos, some of my artwork photos during the workshop. So as a reference to giving inspiration and ideas to you guys. And here's some of the photos, the first 4 photos that I want to show you, and which is something that I did it in the past. this is the first one, and you can see everything is built by cardboard. The tower and the boat, and also as a background, there's also cardboard buildings. And the second one, there's one as well. It's a pig built by cardboard. And the next one, please. The moose. And also this one. So giving you guys a bit of the ideas of, oh yeah, the cardboard can make something, a sculpture, that's what I mean. So for the tubes that I use and what we need for sure is cardboard. And also I use recycled cardboard very often. You can find it in store or in furniture company. And also right now we have many time to stay at home, which is we receive a lot of delivery boxes. Like I got a lot, so which is the delivery boxes, which is also a good thing, the best option for us to start to create the sculpture. And besides cardboard, we will have the cutter, cutting mat, hot glue gun, some tape, pencil, paper, which is everything's easy to find at home, very easy to find at home. So where does the ideas come from? So before I start to create, I always ask myself, where does the ideas can come from? And normally I will search for an object which can represent or echo to my feeling. And also I tend to look for a concrete object that can make the audience associate or connect to their feelings. Such as, if I'm going to create a sculpture by the topic of how I feel right now, I may make a surgery mask by cardboard. And this has something feelings for me for the surgery mask, and also for different people, they may have different perspective to feel the surgery mask. And also in this 5 months, we know more about surgery mask. This is one of the example. And also the second example, which is something me and Carmen did it in 2016. When we were creating our show, The Extinction of Hong Kongers. The show is about the change in my home, Hong Kong, and also how much I miss my home as an immigrant. So we use cardboard to create the iconic Hong Kong building, like the first photo that I showed you, some tower, boats that can see only in Hong Kong, and also the farmland, and to create the landscape of the image of Hong Kong. And you may ask, so if this time I want to work on some abstract idea by cardboard, yes, for sure, I would say it's a great idea. But for this time, this workshop, I would suggest you to make the sculpture from one object or some object that we can see, because it's much more easier. And also once you have the ideas, so if the ideas is an object that you already have, which is good, so that you just bring it to you, and then you can have the different dynamic of it, and also you can see how the three-dimensional of the sculpt of that thing. If not, what I would do is look for the image of the object from the internet or from the box, so that I can have the image. And also I would have different angle, like side view, top view, profile from the image, because we're doing a 3D, three-dimensional sculpture. So let's move to our first exercise. I would like to ask everyone to spend 1 minute to pick up what you want to create with cardboard. The outcome will be a three-dimensional sculpture, and we have a topic of how I feel right now. Try to find an object that can represent, echo to your feelings, and you can share it on our chat box. And we have 1 minute. Let's go. All right, 1 minute. So feel free to share your ideas in our chat box so that I can have an idea of what you're interested in, what you want to make. And also, don't be shy. Cool, I received. Someone want to make a bird. Awesome. All right. And take the time to think about the ideas. Normally for me also, I take some more time to think about what I want to make. But as if you have that, which is so great. Oh, my favorite book. Awesome, I like this idea. And so, so take a time, and also during this workshop, we can have get more inspiration so that, yeah, I want to make this thing, or I want to make this thing, or even though you want to change idea, which is totally fine, and just enjoy the time with me, with everyone in here. And yeah, so we keep going. So after we have the idea of what objects you want to make by cardboard, we could think about the size of the sculpture. So let's say the original size is maybe just like this big, but for when you're doing a sculpture, you can make it larger or smaller. So this is your option to make it, and you just have an idea of, okay, I want to make it a larger or smaller, the size and so the volume of it, so that we can move on, and on top of this, we can add on something. And for this workshop, I would say we're not trying to make a huge size, maybe just something you can put on hand, which is great. So if you're you're thinking of making a cutter, maybe it can be a bigger size cutter, not it could be bigger than it actually is. So after we have the size, as we are building a three-dimensional sculpture, for me, I always start to do it with divide the ideas of the sculpture into parts. So the sculpture is combined with different parts at the end. I'll give you an example. So like this one, a suitcase. So we can divide the object into a larger part, the rectangle, and also four wheels. And also in front of that rectangle, we can divide that into two more rectangles. One is on top and also another is underneath. And then we can also have the handle part. So that everything divided into parts, and then at the end we are combining everything to make a suitcase, to make a cardboard suitcase. So because when we are doing this, we won't miss the details of the object, and also the object, it won't look flat. So let's move to our second exercise. And the exercise will be based on the object that you want to create, and we will divide it into different parts. And using a paper, a pencil to draw the draft, or write down what you will, or write down how you will define the object. And we will spend 3 minutes to doing that. And we will come back for a sharing and 3 minutes. All right. And yeah, so we spent 3 minutes on dividing the object, dividing the ideas into different parts. And now I think it's a good time for us to sharing. You can write down on your chat box, or you can open your camera so that I can see what you have draw, you have draft, or you have write. And don't be shy. Feel free to share with us if you want. And just remind that as we are doing a recording, so as if you turn on your camera, we will see you. Oh, sorry. I mean, you won't be record. I mean, sorry. Only your audios will be recording, but not your camera. So no worries. All right. So, does anyone need more time to write down their sharing, or if people want to continue, I could keep continue on our next things. So if you have some idea, you can write it down, or any questions, you can write it down on the chat box so that I can I can read it. And yeah, don't be shy. Feel free to enjoy it, and we keep going. All right. So. And after we define the objects, the ideas of the objects into different parts, what I will do will start to thinking of the details of what I want to make. As for me, I would say discovering the pattern and the texture of the cardboard itself is the key to doing this. So let's say, when we're looking at the cardboard itself, we can find 3 layers. Using this one as an example, we can see 2 smooth layers and also 1 layer inside, which is with a wave and look raw. And when we're looking cardboard, different cardboard, you can see they have different thickness, and also they would have different color tone from different company. You can see there is 3 different brown color tone already, which is something I always will bear in mind that, okay, the sculpture, what I would love to use, because for me, I prefer not to use other color to decorate the cardboard. Just using the original texture and also original color of the cardboard is very attractive. So when I start to design the sculpture, I also think about what I'm going to make, which one I'm going to use. And when you have a cardboard on your hand, like this one, and you can see you can easier to bend a cardboard easily when it is vertical, the pattern is vertical. Rather than it's horizontal, it is hard to bend. So you can, and so that why I mention is because let's say I need to make it angle, so this is easier for me to make it. And if I want to make a curve, so I can bend the entire cardboard so that it can give me a curve. And what if I want to make a cylinder? So what I go will be rolling this cardboard. I think many people know it, but also I decided to tell you more about it. And so cylinder, so will be something like this one when you glue everything together, and I add another layer on it. So there's one technique that I use, always I will use, which is take off one of the layer of the cardboard. Let me give you an example. So this cardboard, I will draw something on here, which is something that I want to peel it off. So, and I will also use a cutter to draw, to cut it through. And also this side as well. And remember that just tiny cut, which is you're not going to go through it. It's just one layer, just on top, the first layer of the cardboard. And then what I do is peel off the first layer with the cutter, and like this. And my goal is I would peel off this size, and it could be look like something like this if I decide where I want to go. And what is this one is, I will show you a photos that what this one is. If we do it this one more and more. And also another photo, which is the farm. It look like you're on an airplane, and then you see from the airplane, and you see the landscape of the farm. And it is one of the techniques that I always use, and you can see in some other of the work I use. And the second technique I want to introduce is the accessory layers. So when I'm making 3D sculpture, the volume is very important. So this one you can see is a car made by cardboard, and I want you to focus on its horn. Yes. So it's totally okay to just make one flat layer like this, just one flat layer. But if we want to go further, so what can we do? We can use this original pattern and then cut 2 or 3 more layers, like this one, and also put it in front of it, the front and also the back. The back I did it before. So, and then you glue them together, so you can form a not only one flat layer. It's with more dynamic, with more design, and which is something like this, the horn. And when we combine all the techniques that I have used, dividing the object into parts, accessory layers, and also peel off one of the layers. And here's something that we can make, which is like the photo. On my right is the actual building image you can see. And you can see there are I divide it into 3 parts. The base is a rectangle, and in the middle is a cylinder, and then different size of cylinder, and then on top a tiny cylinder. And when we look into the rectangle itself, we can see there are the accessory layers that I mentioned. The rectangle itself, 4 circle clock, and on top of each clock, I cut it through so that we can make 3 windows. And on each of the corner, add a layer of cardboard and just tiny cut, not cut through it, tiny cut in horizontally to make it look like brick. So I also use similar technique in other work too. Like this one I showed you before is you can see how I use the raw wave pattern on the deck. And also the last one I want to show you is this one. I would divide the sculpture into different parts, like the hairnet, the goggle, the mask, and also in the mask I divide into the filter and the mask. And for the accessory layer, I put it a round circle on the mask as well as the goggles. Thank you. And yeah, so all right, so let's move to our third exercise. And after we think about how many parts the sculpture has, get a pencil and paper to mark down where and what technique you want to use on specific area, or draw the image to let you know how you will going to build. Such as a suitcase. It could divide into a rectangle, 4 wheels, and 2 more rectangle. And also think about the pattern of the cardboard. I will use a vertical layer of the rectangle. So think about the because when I'm using the rectangle, I can make it have a curve, so it has more volume. And some accessory layer that I will did is the handle. I make it movable. So we will have 5 minutes for this exercise to think and draw and also write it down. And also if you have any question, you need any help, you can write down in the chat box, and so that we can communicate, or you can all and we can communicate with the chat box. And after 5 minutes, we can come back with audios and we can talk about it. And anything I want to mention before we start? 5 minutes, and yes, that's I want to mention before we start. So 5 minutes. Here we go. All right. Welcome back. So, anyone feel comfortable to share your ideas with us? Great. So, I remember that one of feel free to stop me if you want to share. I remember that one of us had write down a favorite book. So it just pops up. Oh, if I'm going to do that, what I will do with how I will create to using cardboard. So I draw a very draft of the ideas of what, as if I'm going to do what I will go. For sure, a box will be a rectangle, right? So we can think about the thickness. So as what I say, the size of the box. Oh yes, we have some, yes. So, yeah, yeah. So we have a response from the chat box, which is for a book, I would do layering, of course, with some piece. Yeah, you're welcome. With some piece right on the other side, then the inner piece. Yes, exactly. Yeah, and yeah, welcome. And also, what it also brings me pop up me is we can. I will also like for the title of the book, I will use another layer, and also I may try to cut off like this one to make the title of the book so that it have more decoration, or even though I'm not sure like how you will go to play with it, but this is what I pop up in these 2 minutes. And also, yes, one thing I also will say will be where if doing the box, we can also maybe the inside, maybe you have mentioned already, but yes, the cover page is one color tone, and then inside the pages will be different color tone, different cardboard, which is so that we can have more details of this sculpture. And anyone want to share? Cool. All right. So, and move on. All right. So I would take this the rest of the time, maybe do a run up for this session. From my experience of the cardboard engineering, it is very essential to make it clean and also ordinance. I use a lot of hot glue gun to stick the cardboard together, and also make sure a less glue can be seen by the perceiver, as well as less cardboard cut can be seen. So I'll give you an example. Like, have you ever break down a cardboard boxes and observe like this one? And you can see it is totally decided from one pieces of cardboard, so that when we are deciding how to make it, can we also think in this way, like this? So it's totally one pieces, and then it can go back to a box. So when we are designing, can we also think in this way? And yes, it may need more time and also back and forth, because I also did it, sometimes did it, like I cut it and then, it's not the size, I need bigger, or, oh yeah, so that I make another one, or, oh yes, these two cardboard can come from the same one, so that I may, based on that one that I have, and then draw another one on the cardboard and make another one. Or sometimes also the pattern, the vertical pattern that it is hard to bend, and so that I may make another one. So this is something that back and forth can help for creating the cardboard sculpture. And secondly, yes, I mentioned it. And secondly will be for the tools. Always make sure that you have a sharp cutting knife. Replace the new blade often to demand less energy. Sometimes I forgot as well, because I want to save the blade and I cut it. But if you replace another one with a sharper new blade, which is much more easier to get what you want. So change your blade. And also remember that the recycled cardboard is no cost. So if you did it wrong, you could find another cardboard to replace this mistake. And third, people tend to ask me to add color. Yes, it's possible, but for my artistic direction, I love the original color of the cardboard. So discover the original cardboard tone, and the texture would already have a lot of possibility. So last but not least, have fun to create your own cardboard sculpture. Post your work on Facebook or Instagram with hashtag #communitiescreate. And feel free to send question or image of your work in process to me. I'm happy to answer questions. So have fun to create and discover the possibility of the cardboard.
Thank you so much, Roland. Hi, I'm Jessie. I'm the production coordinator for Communities Create, and I'd like to take this time to thank everyone tuning in the live stream, watching the video, and all the participants here today. Like Roland said, this is a reminder to share what you created on using the hashtag Communities Create on social media, or you can submit it through a form that you'll receive after the workshop. We'll also put a page together on the website so everyone can check out the submissions. I'd like to thank Roland again for presenting this amazing workshop, and also Ross Creek Center for the Arts for being our partner this week. This is our final workshop for now, but we hope you stay in touch with us to see all the amazing things coming from the Creative Innovation Studio. You can check out the archives of all our past workshops at our website, communitiescreate.ca. There are nearly 20 creative skills sessions, including digital storytelling, visual art, and mask making. So thank you again for joining us. Now I'd like to invite you to stay for our well-being and mental health debrief with Rachel. Bye to everyone who's leaving now. We'll take a moment and then we'll hand it over to you, Rachel.